Okay, so now we're going to make some earring wires. Now, you should have a nice long piece of brass. If you do not have a long piece, you can grab an extra piece from the bags that are up on the board, okay? But it should be long. You're gonna use the same 20 gauge, so the thinner metal, and you're gonna fold it in half. So I'm end to end, and I'm just gonna kind of pinch the end here. And it does want to twist, so it's a little bit tricky. Okay, so it should have a loop on the end. I'm going to take my needle nose or flat nose pliers, and I'm just going to give that a nice squeeze. So it kind of looks like a bobby pin or a hairpin. Okay, now let's say I got my wire all twisted up when I was manipulating it, and now it looks like this, and I need it to be straight. So this is where those nylon pliers come in handy, okay? So I can grab the one end where it's folded with my needle nose, and I can take my nylon pliers, and I don't even have to squeeze that hard, but I'm just gonna squeeze and pull and just run that across a couple times. And what's gonna happen is it'll make my wires nice and straight. Whoops. Sometimes I lose my grip. Okay. Doesn't need to be perfect, but they shouldn't have any kinks or zigzags in them. All right. From here, I'm going to now take my flush cutters and see how my ends are not quite even together. I'm just going to cut those so that I have a nice even bottom. Okay, so they're the same length. I'm going to grab them and place my sandpaper on the table, and I'm just going to run it around and around on that end to make it nice and flat. Okay, once I have that, I'm going to take my round nose pliers. Just like when we started our jump rings, I'm grabbing not the folded end, but the open ends, right? The two cut ends. I'm going to place them in my round nose pliers so that they're flush, so that the wire is not sticking up above it. And I'm going to hold tight, pull down a little bit with my other hand, and I'm going to twist, just like I was about to make a jump ring, okay? And what I'm going to do, instead of keep going, I'm going to stop there. And so it's going to make like a P. You see, it looks like a little P, like a letter P, okay? Once I've made that, oh, I forgot my Sharpie. Hold on, let me go grab my Sharpie real quick. Because I forgot you need a Sharpie for this, okay? All right, so I'm going to take my P, right? And it's going to face upward, right? Away from me. I'm gonna grab the loops with my non-dominant hand. Not like this, but just the loop part. I'm gonna take my Sharpie and place it right underneath where my hand is. You see where that's where the loop is. My Sharpie is gonna go right underneath. So my loops are pointing up. My Sharpie goes underneath. I'm gonna use my other finger and pull the wire around the Sharpie. So they should make a nice little hook shape. Okay, so again, here is the bent end. These are the cut ends. Nice little, like a shepherd's hook. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to take my needle nose and I'm going to go just below where those loops hit. So I'm grabbing on this side, on the hook part, the shepherd's hook part, okay? Just below those loops, okay? I'm gonna grab it and I'm going to do a gentle but quick little bend, okay? So I'm holding tight here, and I'm just gonna go boop, like make a little bend. So the bend does not need to be crazy. It doesn't need to be pointing upward or outward, right? It's just a gentle bend, but because I'm holding my wires nice and stiff, there should be a bend there. It shouldn't be super curvy, okay? I'm gonna take my flush cutters and I'm going to trim so that there's a short tail on the end. So now I have 2 pieces, 1, 2, with a short little tail on the end. So you can kind of guess at this point what I need to do is go ahead and sand each of those ends, right? Because they're super sharp. We don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to poke into our neck when we wear them. Okay. Now, the last thing that we need to do, because there is one more step, is we need to make these stiffer. Right now, the wire is super soft and really easy to work, okay? As we've been working it, it gets a little tougher and tougher. But when I go to put my earrings on and I go to put these on my ears, these will misshapen if they are not strong enough. Okay, so if you remember when we annealed metal, we heated that up and made it really soft. And then we rolled it through the rolling mill, which are steel rollers, okay? And then the piece gets a little bit stronger, tougher. It is called work hardened. Anytime that you take metal onto steel, so this metal is softer than steel, steel is much stronger. Anytime this is hit onto steel, it becomes work hardened. The metal will be stronger, could be more brittle, like if you were to bend it back and forth, it'll snap, right? But the idea is we want it to hold its shape. So what I'm gonna do is take my pliers, my needle nose pliers or flat nose pliers, and I'm just going to kind of chomp, chomp, chomp. So I'm not like pushing down on them, I'm not gonna dent them. I'm basically just taking them and chomp, chomp, chomp. And I'm gonna do that on all the parts. Just keep chomp, chomp, chomp. And I'm gonna do this until I feel some spring back. So if I push on this, right, it shouldn't give. It should have a little bit more spring. So I'm gonna chomp, chomp, chomp until that has a nice spring, and then I'll be finished for now, and I can put these earring hooks in my bag.